Top 10 muscle cars that dominated the drag strip in the 1980s. The 1980s might not be remembered as the golden age of horsepower, but on the drag strip, some cars refused to slow down. While big blocks were fading and emissions rules were tightening, Detroit still found ways to build muscle, sometimes in sneaky, turbocharged forms, other times with raw, high-revving V8s that caught everyone by surprise. Today, we're counting down the top 10 muscle cars that dominated the drag strip in the 1980s. The ones that left rubber, dropped jaws, and proved that true performance never dies. Kicking off our list at number 10 is the comeback kid, the 1983 Camaro Z28 HO. After years of being underpowered, Chevy finally gave the Camaro some bite again. With a 5L high-output V8, tuned suspension, and an aggressive new body, the Z28 signaled a return to form. It made 190 horsepower, which might sound tame today, but in 1983, it was enough to run a 15.5-second quarter mile, especially when paired with the 5-speed manual and lightweight F-body chassis. More importantly, it gave street racers a platform to build on. The Z28 was back, leaner, meaner, and ready to tear up the local strip. In ninth place, we meet a legend in the making, the 1987 Mustang GT 5.0. This fox body was the working man's weapon. Affordable, easy to mod, and quick right out of the box. With a 5L V8 pushing 225 horsepower, it could rip through the quarter mile in about 14.5 seconds stock. Its secret weapon? Weight. The Fox body was light and agile, with the kind of rear-wheel drive setup drag racers loved. Whether you were running nitrous, gears, or just raw skill, the 5.0 GT was ready to battle. To this day, these cars are still dominating bracket racing across the country, proof that simple, raw muscle never goes out of style. Now this one changed the game. At number 8, we have the 1986 Buick Grand National, a sleek, blacked-out menace packing a 3.8L turbocharged V6. No V8? No problem. With 235 horsepower and gobs of torque, it could sprint down the quarter in just 14.2 seconds, shocking anyone who underestimated it. The Grand National looked like a luxury car, until it left you in the dust. And this was just the beginning. Buick was warming up for something even more brutal the following year. But even in 1986, the Grand National proved one thing loud and clear. Turbo was the future, and it was fast. In 7th place is a street bruiser with serious track cred, the 1987 Monte Carlo SS. It wasn't the flashiest car at the strip, but make no mistake, this thing could run. Under the hood was a 5.0L high-output V8, pushing around 180 horsepower, backed by a performance-tuned 4-speed automatic and a 3.73 rear axle. What made it deadly on the quarter mile wasn't just the motor, it was the aerodynamics. With its NASCAR-inspired nose and rear spoiler, the Monte Carlo SS had stability at high speeds that others in its class couldn't touch. Quarter-mile times hovered around 15.1 seconds, and with some mild bolt-ons, this sleeper got real scary. It was a fan favorite for weekend warriors. Good torque, great gearing, and pure Chevy attitude. At number 6, we take a ride in Pontiac's last big swing before the muscle car world changed forever, the 1980 Trans Am Turbo. Instead of a massive V8, Pontiac tried something bold, a 4.9L turbocharged V8 pushing out 210 horsepower. While turbo technology was still in its infancy, this Trans Am delivered surprisingly strong mid-range power and a respectable 15.2-second quarter mile right off the lot. It came with boosted graphics, a massive turbo hood bulge, and enough presence to scare off slower traffic before the light even turned green. It was wild, experimental, and ahead of its time, and today, it stands as a symbol of Pontiac's refusal to go quietly. Fifth place goes to one of the most unexpected drag strip sleepers of the 1980s, the 1982 Dodge Mirada CMX. Never heard of it? That's exactly why it was so dangerous. Under the square, boxy body sat a 5.5L 360 V8, tuned just enough to surprise unsuspecting rivals. Official horsepower was modest, around 185 horsepower, but the torque, rear-wheel drive layout, and decent gearing gave it real-world bite. Quarter-mile times were in the 15.3-second range, but what made the Mirada special was how easily it could be modified. Swap in a performance cam, intake, headers, and suddenly, you had a full-blown drag car wrapped in Grandpa's tuxedo. It was the definition of a stealth bomber. At number 4, we've got a car that brought Corvette power to the muscle car crowd. The 1987 Pontiac Firebird Formula 350. This sleeper came packed with the 5.7 LL98 V8 straight from the Corvette, delivering 225 horsepower and a mountain of torque. The Firebird Formula wasn't about flash. It skipped the flashy body kits of the Trans Am and instead focused on going fast in a straight line. With the right gearing, this bird could run the quarter mile in 14.6 seconds, making it one of the fastest factory F-bodies of the era. No pop-up lights, no spoilers, just power and purpose. The Formula 350 was for those who wanted speed without shouting about it, and it delivered. In third place, we meet a true legend, the 1987 Buick GNX. This wasn't just a faster Grand National, it was a monster in disguise. With a heavily upgraded 3.8L turbocharged V6, an intercooler, and a reworked suspension, the GNX unleashed 276 horsepower and brutal torque. It could destroy the quarter mile in just 13.5 seconds, beating just about everything on the road, including Vettes, Mustangs, and even some Ferraris. Car and Driver famously called it Darth Vader's car. And they weren't wrong. Everything about the GNX was stealth, savage, and limited. Only 547 were built, making it not just one of the fastest cars of the decade, but also one of the most collectible. Runner-up on our list is the 1989 Pontiac Turbo Trans Am. Built to celebrate 20 years of Trans Am history and secretly packing one of the most lethal combinations of the decade. Under its hood, the same 3.8L Turbo V6 from the Buick GNX, but this time in a lighter, better-handling Firebird chassis. Officially rated at 250 horsepower, but unofficially producing far more, this anniversary edition was capable of 13.4-second quarter miles, and some testers hit high 12 seconds with sticky tires. It was sleek, it was fast, and it was way ahead of its time. The Turbo Trans Am wasn't just a commemorative badge, it was a high-tech rocket dressed as a pony car. Taking the number 1 spot is not the rarest, not the most expensive, but undeniably the most dominant. The 1987 Ford Mustang LX 5.0 with a 5-speed manual. While the GT got the flashy body kit, the LX was lighter, cleaner, and quicker. Under the hood, the legendary 5.0L high-output V8, putting out 225 horsepower and 300 lb-ft of torque. But here's the thing. The LX weighed nearly 200 pounds less than the GT, giving it the edge where it mattered, on the strip. In stock form, the LX 5.0 could clock a 13.9 to 14.1 second quarter mile depending on driver and conditions. And with just a few bolt-ons, you were deep into the 13 seconds, smoking Camaros, Grand Nationals, and anything brave enough to line up next to you. It was cheap, it was fast, it was everywhere. And even today, it's still a weapon on the drag strip. No other car in the 1980s defined grassroots muscle the way the Fox Body 5.0 did. And that's why it owns the number 1 spot.